Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for connecting today. My name is Edwin Rivera with the Millennial Realtors. If it is your first time connecting with us, we help families either buy, sell, or refinance their home as well. And today we have a guest speaker. We had him probably 2, 3 weeks ago, Cesar Gomez. Hey, Cesar, how you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself? Thank you. Thank you so much, Edwin. Appreciate you and your team for putting this together.
Really good. So today, let's say it's the second part of the last time that you were with us. So today we're going to be talking specifically about credit. Exactly what do you need in order to have a good credit. It can either be to buy a car, it can be to buy a house, or even if you just want to have a good credit to get a better rates and credit cards and everything else. So
Yes.
today, technically, most of the speaking is going to be you.
Okay.
Anything you want to say in intro before we go to the slideshow?
Right now, one of the things, and I think we mentioned it last time on the Zoom on our live, was that right now 70% of Americans have a 620 or FICO. 70% of Americans have a 620 or lower FICO right now. So right now there is a big shift in people's credit, and one of the things that to take into account, American Express, and I bring American Express up right now because I've been talking to some very close networks of mine that have American Express with $1 million, $2 million credit limits, and they're getting cut to 50,000. I have a good network of mine that spends about $4 or $5 million a year on his American Express, and yesterday American Express cut his limit to 50,000. So literally his whole operations of business just got cut. And why am I sharing this? Is because that's the impact of people defaulting on payments. So American Express is the first company that their systems of tracking how other people are paying their credit cards is exactly how they are analyzing what's coming. And when I say it's coming, it's a lot of us get, we get a little fearful and scared about credit because we don't understand it. But the banks like American Express, they're already seeing the default rates actually going up now. So that's actually a sign that people are continue defaulting, especially when right now with money is a little bit tight. So I just want to share that because that's a big indicator of American Express doing that. Had another client of mine last 2 weeks ago. Same thing. They spent about 150,000 American Express, and they closed their card completely. So what I'm trying to get at is when you don't you know how to use your credit correctly, that's another thing American Express looks at. And I bring them up because their systems of tracking everything that's going on is very up to date. So
So
I'm gonna start
technically,
opening up with that.
So technically, for this person that you mentioned, or these two different incidents, um, they're paying good with American Express depending on time, but everything else they might not have the best credit or payment history, and because they're
Correct.
tracking what is happening on overall situation, even though they already got approved, now they American Express before they say, hey, before we're next, they making
Correct.
changes to that.
100%. So they're looking at your personal utilization on your personal cards, and they're determining if you can even afford to pay them back next month.
Yeah.
So, and it's we talked about utilization last time on our live. Is utilization is right now more than ever. The banks are actually looking at it to see how, the risk factor as a person. When you're using their credit.
Okay. Perfect. And something I noticed a lot of on the seller side, when it comes to real estate, a lot of sellers or even past clients, they have called me because either they want a HELOC to pay a lot of debt. So a lot of people are being getting in debt the last few years. So what I noticed are people are spending more money than what they earn every single month. So they use credit cards to be able to substitute the missing income that they have. So that I noticed
Correct.
a lot of sales are happening because they're not able to afford anymore. What they were able to afford before, they're not able to afford anymore. So a lot of people are selling the house because they're like hasta el cuello with the debt and they just want a relief in a way.
And
Oh,
that's a great point because we see it also. Um, a lot of people don't need credit repair. It's just their utilization so high that drops their FICO score. And we talked about it last time on the live as well. So there's a lot of factors. So definitely, I just want to bring that up just so people are aware of what's going on out there and how the banks are looking at all of us as we speak because
oh yeah.
that's very important now. So
Okay. So let me share. I'm gonna share the screen right now of a PowerPoint slide, so that way the consumer is able to see it.
Yeah.
And you let me know when you want me to go to the next slide, so I'm able to
Okay.
do it as well.
Perfect. So pretty much one of the things that, at Optimum, what we've done is pretty much we service 95% of real estate and mortgage officers, real estate agents, and loan officers. So what we've done is we've created a system to keep everybody in the loop of when they're in the credit repair. And the reason being is because it's not fair that you send me a client, Edwin, and then you're not in the loop, or you got to text me or you got to email me to get an update from your client. So what we've done is we've actually put in a system that's going to be able to connect all of us while we're working on on people's credit. So you can move on to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So, the old gap was, clients, we talked about how Optimum Financial Group, we work in what's called rounds. It's every 30 days. Every 30 days on the day you get started, you will get an update of your credit report, and you're going to get an update of your new FICO score, what came off, was still pending. The old gap was we will send the client the update, which they were okay with, but working with you, Edwin, your team, you also have to have an update because it's not fair to keep you guys out of your commission. For example, if I'm fixing one of your clients' credit, right, and you need a 680 because that's what you need to qualify them with, it's not fair for them to hit 680 and you're still waiting to try to get them into their home. So now that gap has been closed. So every client now carry and attach, realtor or loan officers to the update. So now you yourself, your team is going to get a monthly update on the rounds every single time that credit report is pulled with all the new changes. You'll be getting it too. So that way you're in the loop. Your agents are in the loop, and every client that's onboarded, if you sent it, it's one of your realtors sent it. They're going to be getting the update every 30 days. So when they see the FICO score hit where they need to be, then you guys get to work and find the home for them.
Oh, okay. So that's great. So in order, so you guys, when you guys are fixing the credit for someone that is buying a house, and you
Correct.
guys get referred by us, we able to, we able to see what is happening, not only the clients but also ourselves. So that way we know when they're ready. So that way we can start looking for houses right away.
Correct. And that way you guys are not waiting till we're completely done. That's another thing. The client, it does not affect them in any way, shape, or form while we're actually in the process of fixing their credit. Okay.
Okay.
So step one, uh, it's a 50-50. Sometimes, for example, you guys speak to a client and the client knows he has bad credit, but you don't have a copy of the credit. Then what we do is we provide our link for them to be able to run the credit for $1. And like we mentioned last time, I had a Zoom today with the company we're working with. We're gonna have Vantage 4.0 active either late September. They pushed it a little bit longer, but it's mid September, early October. Our credit reports are going to be Vantage 4.0. So the scores that are on there are exactly the same scores you guys are going to get when you guys close escrow. Okay. So that's one way. And if you send me a credit report, then I go ahead and pull I use the credit report that you guys provide, and I'll be able to do the next step. So pretty much there's always a solution. One of the things I think I mentioned to you last time, and once I have it all finalized and set up, it's Equifax. I'll be able to provide a link that you guys could actually run the credit for free, Vantage 4.0, and get a score on the Equifax for free without using a credit card. So that will determine if you guys want to run all three bureaus. So
Okay.
just
And what I mean
so
4.0. So what it is practically when you run the credit for buying a car, that's one version how they run the credit.
correct,
When you apply for credit card, that's another version. If you use like a free website like Credit Karma as an example, that is a
correct,
different version. That they can
correct,
kind of give you an idea where your FICO is, but when you buying a house, they go even more deep into your
correct,
credit. So technically, with this new way of running the credits, you're gonna be able to see what the lenders wants to see and
correct,
being able to provide better customer service when it comes to the FICO score.
Correct, and that's one of the things. And just to kind of give a little bit of background, before you guys used, it was only FICO, the company that you guys could use, but Vantage 4.0, actually, the federal government allowed lenders to start using that. So I'm actually implementing that because I work with you guys all the time. So I want to make sure we use the same scoring system, so that way it's all aligned, from start to finish. So that's pretty much how that works.
Oh, okay.
Uh, we,
Perfect.
Step two now. We can move on to the next slide. So I mean, I got kind of got ahead of myself. Vantage 4.0, it goes live in September. So that pretty much what that means is every time we run credit, when we're repairing the credit and we give you an update from your client, it's the exact same score they're going to get with Vantage 4.0 when they run it through escrow or the mortgage company. So you guys, it'll be matched because right now we use Vantage 3.0, and like you mentioned, Credit Karma uses their own system, so it's never the same. Vantage 4.0 is actually made for the mortgage industry and the real estate industry.
Okay, perfect.
So one of the things, what we do is we get your, when once we have the credit report, we always want to make sure we have all three bureaus, and the reason being is because sometimes some bureaus don't get reported. What I mean is a negative item, for example, if you have a collection, sometimes the banks don't report to all three bureaus. So for us, it's very important to see if it's reporting to all three bureaus or not. Okay, and what we do is then we grab the whole. Credit report, and we have a proprietary system that we actually analyze the credit report, and we actually break it down into the simplest form and be able to run it with the client. And what we put in there is the FICO score, all the negative items, utilization. So we actually break down utilization. It's very important. Every time a client has positive cards, credit cards, we actually break down their utilization so they can see the impact it has on their FICO score. And then we put down exactly the timeline of what it's going to take to remove all the negative items. So that whole analysis actually is in your client's file. So when we write when we when the client when the lead becomes a client, the progress the credit analysis actually stays in their file in their back office. So we're always looking at it and we're all on the same page, and we always write down the key observations that we pick up. Sometimes we have what's called thin files. The clients, for example, have all negative items and nothing left for positive to be able to calculate a score. And I think we've had a few of your clients in that case that we remove all the negative items and they had nothing left. So we have to then strategize to be able to add trade lines at different primary trade line services that exist to be able to get a FICO score to get them qualified.
Now, more or less, how long it takes for a credit repair to happen? Like,
It
let's
just
say,
depends on the file. Go
okay,
ahead.
someone that has collections. Collections doesn't mean it's late. It's already closed account, goes to collections, and has a 520 FICO score. And let's say they want to use down payment assistance program, a 660 FICO score.
Okay.
How long it would take something like that to
That's a great question. So the first thing is the older the negative item, the faster it comes off. Okay. So right now, what we're seeing the trend is most people's negative items on their credit report from the pandemic. It's from 2020 to 2022. So a lot of the collections that we're seeing, a lot of the late payments that we're seeing, a lot of the charge-offs. Another thing, charge-offs, that means the collection agency took a loss. So once it's charged off, those are pretty easy to wipe out because they're already nobody's claiming that debt. So pretty much a charge-off is you send your dispute out and you use a law that protects that protects the consumer on that charge-off. It's going to come off the first 30 60 days just because nobody's claiming it. That's how that works. So what we do when we do the analysis, we actually break down the debts from the oldest to the newest because the ones that are going to give us the biggest pushback are the newest ones. And the reason being because they bought that debt from the bank from the debt. That's the problem. So I always tell clients when we if you have a debt that is actually we're gonna get pushback. just because it's common. The collection agency ain't gonna take that loss. For example, if there's a collection for $10,000, the collection agency probably paid $2,000-3,000 for it. So the moment we dispute it, they're not gonna go without a fight just because they want to make sure they at least collect their $2,000-3,000. So that's a great question.
Now, you did mention something that I learned from you recently. When they buy the collection, but you don't have a contract with the collection company, technically you can remove it, and they cannot take. Can they take a legal action when you remove it?
No.
Because
So
they
this
own the
is
debt,
that's a
but
great
technically
question.
there's not a contract with them.
Correct. That's a great question. So once the debt is sold from the actual bank or credit card company, there's no longer legal liability. The only way that it is legally you can have into get into legal issues is if, for example, you get a credit card from. I'm going to use right now the ones that I'm seeing sue people right now is Discover and Capital One. So say you get a debt from Capital One and you haven't paid them in 6 months, and the debt's still in Capital One's hands, they could sue you. And I'm seeing actually the last week I saw a few clients, Capital One and Discover suing them. So the moment they sell the collection to the debt to a collection agency, then the debt then you're no longer liable for the debt. But as long as the credit card company or the bank sells the debt, they have to sell it because now they got paid for it, and um, there's no legal action after that. But if they keep the debt, they hold on to the debt, and then you got to be careful because they're trying to sue you. That's what they're doing.
Okay. So for the people that are listening, and by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send it put a message either Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. I just want to say super fast hi to Rose, Baron Property, Andrea, also Brian, Agape Beauty, and Brian is asking a question right now, and that I will ask in a few minutes. Um, so okay, so technically, if ABC company owned the debt and they sold it to Eminem Company, the collection company. Technically, you don't own Eminem anything, and
Correct.
instead of you spending more money, or we could say thousands of money in settle that debt that is still going to affect your credit, it's better to kind of hire your company to be able
Correct.
to clear that from the credit report.
Correct. Exactly.
Perfect. So it's cheaper.
It is cheaper, and it's also, that's why I always tell people that's the law, and it's the law. But we don't. Nobody teaches us this, or nobody tells us this. But that's the law because the ABC company got paid for the debt.
Okay, and Brian has a question. Is one of the audience from Instagram? What if you have had a collection paid off and it doesn't show an improvement on your credit score?
Well, that's a great question. So if you pay off a collection, and we just answered that question right now, it's better to keep your money and hire us because you paying the collection, they're not going to remove the collection off the credit. They're just going to put zero balance collection. And it's the exact same thing if you owe $10,000 on the collection because it's still hurting, it's still calculating in your FICO score. And that's why I always tell clients, like, don't negotiate the debt because the thing is, once you pay it off, you're going to give them your hard earned money and they're still going to leave it on your credit as a zero balance collection. And you still have to hire us to take it off.
Okay. And by the way, by the end of today's show, we're gonna give you guys how you're able to get free, in a way, free credit repair.
Mhm.
So make sure you guys still stay connected until the end.
Yeah, that's a great question, but that's exactly how it works.
Okay, let me move this here. I don't think people want to see me. Okay,
Move on to
let's
the
see.
next.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
The 4 round dispute framework, this is pretty much how we work. The first round, the first 30 days, we remove inquiries and duplicates. A lot of people ask, like, i don't know if I mean I don't know how many people really look at their credit report, but sometimes there's wrong home addresses, wrong misspelled names, phone numbers. We actually clean that up with for the client. So that's one thing that we actually do every time a client hires us. We make sure that we leave their correct information only and everything else gets wiped out. And that happens on the first round. On the second round, we go after the collections. It's a whole process. And then the third round, we go into the bureau inconsistencies because any inconsistency, it's it's grounds for removal. that's what the law says. So our system, we always, that's why we, when we analyze our credit report, we run it through our own system that finds all the inconsistencies, and our job is to make sure that we send them out to the credit bureaus. And then charge-offs and complex items. So what complex items means is a repossession, foreclosure, um, student loan, tax liens, medical bills. That's a complex um, item. And I always tell clients, those are the ones that take more time. Those are the ones that we really have to go fight, because they're the collection agency or whoever bought the debt are always going to fight back. Yeah. So that's our 4 round dispute process.
Okay, and I don't know if you answered on the previous slide. So these four time frames, what is the minimum time? What is the longest usually it might take for someone
So
to
that's a
improve
great
their credit?
question. So the longest time from the most complex items that take the longest, it takes anywhere from I'd say 6 to 9 months. It's bankruptcies, uh, foreclosures, tax liens, medical bills, because those are always the most highest amount. So like for example, if you have student loans of over $200,000, it's going to be a fight. I mean, we take them off, they come off. Bankruptcy, you just got a bankruptcy and it's all, it's public record. We actually make it come off public record as well, not just your credit report. So it never shows bankruptcy ever again.
You just did a client of us who had a bankruptcy not too long ago, and usually it takes what 7 years to drop from your credit, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, and you were able to remove it like this. So
Yeah.
if you or your family member had a BK recently and you want that to disappear, so you like a brand new credit, make sure you call them right away.
Yeah, no, I know that client you're talking about, and that's the thing. And I always give long timelines, because I would hate to tell you, uh, you know over promise and under deliver. But the average does come off within 3 to 4 months, the bankruptcies. But I always say 8, just because I don't want the client to come back and say, you told me 3 months, right? And on your client, it was pretty fast. I know which client you're talking about, because
Okay.
I serviced.
Now, that's a lot of time, but let's say someone wants to buy a house. They say,
Yeah.
hey, Edwin, you know what? I want to buy a house by the month of October, November, and they start the process at the beginning of September. Can that happen within 4 weeks, 6 weeks? A credit repair?
It,
Something,
it
not a BK, but someone who has few
Yeah,
collections,
yeah.
you know, a low FICO score, like a 580 FICO score, and they want a 640, 660 FICO score.
Yes, that's a great question. So again, if the collection say it's from 2021, from the pandemic time, right? And they have 2 collections from that time. They stop paying their credit cards. Yeah, I'll tell you, 60 days, you put them in escrow. Because I know I'll be able to wipe them out. Because the thing is, nobody's going to respond to them. Nobody, they give up on that client. They give up on that person trying to collect the payment. Now, if that collection's from 2025, then I'll tell you no, because we're going to get pushback. They're going to respond. So it just depends on the time.
Okay. But when you hire the professional, that's a piece of cake.
It is. Once you look at the report, it's very easy to. That's why we do these analysis, to be able to tell the client exactly the timeline. And once we do, we hit it. Like we make it happen, and we have all the resources to make it happen. So we could move on to the next slide.
Okay. I have someone asking one more question.
Sure.
Uh, does getting another credit card give you a big jump on your credit score since you open a new account, or does it negatively impact your score overall?
That's a great question. So, based on that question, is this: new accounts are always great, right? Now, how you use the account could definitely impact your credit. So, having new credit, and let's use some of your clients that we've serviced recently. I always tell them, because there's a few we added trade lines after we fix their credit to get them going, right? Is they have to establish credit. They have to get back on track. So you do have to. So say for instance, let's use an example of somebody that just got credit repair, right? The best thing to do is to start applying for credit, because that's how you're going to reestablish credit,
But not
right?
too much,
So
right?
not well, don't use it too much, because at the end of the day, you could have 100 credit cards with no balances and you look good, right? or you can have 100 credit cards and they're all maxed out, and now you have a 500 FICO, right? So it's a matter of balance. It's a matter of what how you use the cards. So the impact's based on the usage of the card, but every new card it will actually give you, it will give you a boost. It will give you a push.
Okay. And Pal can answer that question. And let me know if you're the professional. Let me know if I answer
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
So let's say if you have three credit cards, in
Yeah.
each credit card you have a 3,000 limit. And
Yeah.
overall you have 8,000 in debt on those three credit cards. So technically you
Yeah.
almost had 90% of that.
That's that. Yeah.
And then you go and apply for an American Express and they give you 10 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
So now your total credit limit is 19,000.
Correct.
But your usage of credit limit is only 8,000. So in a way, as long he doesn't use the credit card again just to max the credit card,
Well, that's a great question.
it will
So,
help, right? Because now he using less than 50% of the credit limits in general.
and so let's break it down in how they look at it. That's a great question. So they look at it in two ways. The first one is each individual card. So if each individual card is almost at 80-90%, right, then that has a hit. And then overall, right now you're at 40% because you got an Amex for 10 grand. That also has a calculation on your FICO score. But what they're looking at is individual cards. That's why when I do an analysis, I always break down the individual cards instead of instead of averaging them all, because the most impact is individually than when you do them combined. So that's a great question. And I always tell people it's better off for them to call the credit card company and get a credit increase on the one that's almost maxed out.
Oh, okay. So in this case, it's better to get a credit increase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because that drops your utilization. And in a new card, it's a new card. It's not, it's the overall average. Yes, it dropped, but the individual card's still maxed out. So you call and get a credit increase.
Oh, okay.
That was a great question.
Have we talked about this slide or go to the next one?
Yeah, that's next slide. How long each round takes is 30 days. So the way it works is you get started with us today. We submit everything, all the legal disputes today. And in 30 days from today, so the 27th of September, you'll get your first update. And the client gets an update, the realtor gets an update, the loan officer gets an update. They get the new credit score. They get a summary of all the negative items that came off and the ones that are still pending. And then we'll give you a summary of what we have, the disputes that are going out that same day. So the same day that you get an update, that same day we send out the next round of disputes. So it's always 30 days.
And I will tell you this, even though if you have a good credit score, it's always good to check your credit. Okay.
100%.
Me, I will put myself as an example. I'm one of your clients. Like I have a great credit score. I purchase houses. I think if I apply for something, I think I will be able to qualify. And I say, hey, can we check the credit? Then okay, hey, you have these addresses, you have this from the past. Even though I have a good FICO score, you were able to kind of do, we can call it like a cleanup of
Yes.
everything from the past. And my FICO score improved. And something I will tell you this: don't wait until you need it. Make sure you prepare ahead of time. It's like going to the doctor. You want to make sure you go an annual checkup just to see, hey, do I have something? If I have something, can I address that ahead of time? Make sure with your credit you do the same thing. What I mean by that is like, don't wait until you're gonna buy the car, until you're gonna buy the house to fix the credit, because when the opportunity comes, you want to make sure you're ready at that moment. Because like Cesar mentioned, it might take 30 days, might take 60 days, might be a little bit longer. So make sure you always a step ahead. If you're planning to buy something on credit, it can be something as simple as a credit card, it can be a car, it can be a house.
And something I want to add, that's a great point, because one of the things I want to add is that so like we have something called inquiry removal and profile cleanup. So we charge $500 and we wipe out all your inquiries, because inquiries are, a lot of people run their credit and don't realize the impact, right? And and we call it an express wipeout. So in 30 days, say you have perfect credit, but you have 20 inquiries, you have 20 addresses, 20 phone numbers. We clean all that for you, and now your file, actually your your FICO score goes up just because we've been able to clean that. Another thing that we're bringing in the near future. %4 of our clients of credit, and years after. So we're going to put a peace of mind package for $49.99 a month. So they're paying for us. They're paying for that. And the moment they need inquiry removal, they get a late payment by accident, we'll take it off at no cost.
Ooh, vámonos. So even though they have a late payment, you can also remove those as well.
Correct. Anything that they put on their credit, if they're paying for the peace of mind, they have to come through a program first, and then they're going to get offered that service. And because we're seeing the percentages, we already have data to calculate how many clients come back.
Okay. Perfect. Next.
So you're in the loop every round. The client, you, the partner, the realtor, the loan officer, every single step of the way, everybody gets they're in the loop of communication. And what we did, we closed that gap so that there is no, everyone doesn't have to reach out to me to see where his client is at. Because one of the things is, like I said earlier, I hate the fact that I'm holding your commission back. I want you guys to get paid. That's why I did this, because at the end of the day, I closed the loop on communication. So we're on the loop and you're seeing exactly every step of the way for your client. And then that way, once you see, even if for example, if you need a 680 for a client and this round is over and you saw 660, well, guess what? Next round, he's going to be over 680. So you get him ready now. That's why we did this.
Okay. We have another question. If your score went down due to average credit age, will closing that account affect you, or is it better just leave it alone on your credit report and
That's
let
a
your
great
credit
question.
improve by itself?
Well, there's always a reason your credit score drops. So a closed account is all. I always tell people the closed account. If you close the account, right, what you're doing is kind of putting yourself in a predicament that the way the credit bureaus look at your FICO score, any closed account in their eyes is late payments. Because most people that get closed accounts is because they fell behind 60 days and the bank automatically closes the account because they don't want you to go into default or start using the card more. So in that sense, that's how it's calculated. The system calculates it as late payment. So you need to really identify, if you close the account, then it's better to hire us and take it off. If not, it's sad to say, it calculates for 7 years like a bankruptcy. So if you close the account, then you shouldn't. I always tell people, don't close the account. If you get an email or a call from the credit card company saying, if you don't use a card, we're going to close it, go put gas, use it, and then pay it off. Because the closed account is like having a late payment. It calculates like a late payment.
Yeah,
it
happened to one of our clients. They closed their credit card because they were not using the credit card, and that affected the FICO score. And they're like, "Hey, I make payments everywhere." Like, then we were checking it. You close this account? They're like, "No, I didn't." But they closed it, and when they called it was because they didn't use it. So make sure you use the credit card. I will say once every 2 months, at least for something, so they know there's some type of activity.
Yes. Put gas, go buy a soda at the gas station, and then pay it off right after. They want to see activity. And the reason being is there's 2 reasons you close accounts: for lack of usage, which is very small percentages, but 95% of the accounts that I see close are because the people got behind 60 days or more, and the bank, the last thing they want is for you to max the card out and then not pay them, so they just close the account so you won't use the card anymore. So that's how that works. So it calculates like that. That's how they look at it. And this, don't wait for done to get moving. That's the thing. That's why the system's in place. So as soon as the FICO score hits where you guys need it to be, you guys get to work with your client. You guys get to get them into escrow, buy the house, and we continue to clean the credit. And that's the beautiful part about this, that it doesn't interfere with us. We keep doing our thing, you guys do your thing, and now you've made somebody's dream come true by owning a home, and we continue to fix the credit till we're done. And then once we're done, then they're already, and it's happening with some of your clients. We're still fixing their credit. There's still little negative things, but the FICO score hit, and you guys were able to put it on a home.
I remember we had a lady that came at the beginning of the year to buy a home that we're not able to purchase because of the low FICO score. We need a specific FICO score for the program. You know, we were for you to your company, you were able to fix it, and thank God by now they're enjoying, their new home because fixing their credit is something that small, that simple can stop you from buying a home. There's always a solution. Always remember that it's always a solution. You had a bad year 3-4 years ago, and you had a bad FICO score because of that. Give us a call. We can give you different options to make sure that you get to the final step that will be owning a house.
Correct. And one of the things is our new platform that we actually were blessed to announce that we build our own platform. So Optimum Financial Group has our own. We have our own platform, so it's ours. We built it. So now you can actually do calendar invites. So for example, you send me a client, and and you get a message from the round. I could actually add your iCalendar, your Google Calendar to it, and every round it's going to alert you that day that you're going to get an update from your client.
Okay.
One file, one timeline, everyone in sync. That's our new logo. That's our new keyword. It's because everybody's in sync, and this makes everybody excited about it. I'm excited because now there's no gaps. Everybody's in sync. Everybody's in communication, and it's all tied into everybody. So as soon as the client, so for example, when you send me one of your clients, the moment that client comes in, your information is uploaded to our platform, to our CRM. So every time the dispute goes out, not only does the client get an update, but so do you.
And something
And same
that I
thing with-
notice, you got your communication of your whole company is on point, and that's something that we love. Whenever we send your client, if we need help right away, you guys work on it, and we able to help the families as fast as possible. Because I know there's some credit companies they can do it, but for some reason is one person doing everything, and that can delay the whole process as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so we have two things we want to give today. One of them, you did mention how to check your credit. That's the first step, is check your credit. How can they check the credit for free?
I'll send you the link. So whoever wants, have them text this number that you have on your credit. I'll send you the link. You provide the link, and they'll be able to run the credit for free. It's
Okay,
through
perfect.
Equifax.
So text the word credit to the phone number 562-448-6775. It's on the screen right now. The moment you text credit, I will send you the link. So it's a link that you can run the credit. Right now will be 3.0, but next month it might be 4.0.
No,
Okay, but it's completely free. Now, this is where you can get free credit repair. Okay, we have done it for a few families already. We started doing this probably like 8 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, almost at the beginning of the year, and we helped some families like that. So if you're buying a house and the credit is stopping you from buying a house, you can start the credit repair. And the cost of the credit repair, I believe, is when it's something more complex, it's $1,500, right?
It's $1,500 when you don't have bankruptcy, foreclosure, student loans. So that's $1,500, which is 90% of the files.
Okay,
and then
perfect. So you start the process of the credit repair, and when you buy a house with us, we will refund you that money at close of escrow. Okay,
That's
so
beautiful.
what it means is eventually you don't pay anything for the credit repair. Okay.
Wow. That's beautiful.
So for any families that is looking to buy, say, hey, that's another expense. I still have to give the down payment, the closing costs, and everything else. We're helping families. We already help few families like this. So if you're buying a house, as long as we're able to assist you with the whole process of buying a house, we can help you as well with the credit repair. So that way, you don't have to pay for the credit repair. Okay. And again, you guys can text us to the 562-448-6775 with the word credit, and we'll send you the link. And also we can give you more details regarding the free credit repair. So in order for you to buy your first home.
And that's beautiful. First of all, I admire what you're doing, because you're giving somebody an opportunity, and for us, we're blessed to be able to be of value to do that. For when I get the calls and texts from you and your team saying a new client got a home, that to me is why I do this. I don't do this because of the money. I do it because I want to serve and help, because this exists for all of us. And one of the things, you know, that you guys are doing is fantastic. So whatever you need from me, I'm here to help. The free link, I'll send it over to you that way, and you don't need to add a credit card, nothing, just your personal information, and I'll give you your whole Equifax for free. So that way, now the next step will be contact Edwin and his team. If your FICO score, whatever it is, you don't know how to go through it, contact them and they'll be able to help you go through it. And if you guys are ready to go, then it's perfect, because it's a tool. I always tell people, if you run the FICO and you have a 700, now you're able to get them into a home immediately. And that's why we do this. It's a tool.
It's a tool. And I will tell everyone, the better your FICO score, the more doors you're going to have open. Not only for a house, for anything. Hey, I have an emergency, I have a good FICO score, you apply for a credit card, they're going to give it to you. You have an emergency, you need a loan, they're going to give it to you. When you're buying a house, you had a good FICO score, they're going to give you a lower rate. And a lot of the down payment assistance programs will be available for you as well. Correct. So there's many doors that will open with good FICO score. And thank you, Cesar, for being in today's show, providing those.
Thank you. Let's keep doing this. Let's make noise. I definitely admire what you're doing. I didn't even know that's what you're doing, their clients, and you let me know how I could help with that. That's phenomenal. That's an amazing idea. I never thought that you were doing that. So just congratulations. Anybody that's watching right now, definitely take advantage of that, because that is genius, like, honestly, and it's and it works, you know. So thank you.
Perfect. So thank you for everyone that connected today, that were able to ask those questions. If you have a question you didn't want to answer didn't want to make that in public through the comments, feel free to send us a text. We can answer those questions completely private. Until the next time,
thank you
so much. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.